Want to stand out on Amazon KDP with Publisher Rocket? My name is Takara and this is Jeshua. And in this video, we're going to do a full demo of Publisher Rocket for a vampire novel.
We have a fake example, this book does not actually exist, of a vampire novel with a university professor who is a historian of some kind, you know, not a real book, so... but she goes off and she finds some kind of artifact that then kind of pulls her into this world of, you know, vampires and undead and all that kind of stuff. And so it's kind of an urban fantasy mystery type thing. And so in today's video, we're going to be finding the right categories for that book. Now, we went with urban fantasy because this not book is modern day. It involves, you know, normal person, well, normal university professor, you know, but a somewhat normal person who uncovers a somewhat parallel world to our own and whatever, and it's happening in the modern day, and all this stuff is occurring under the noses of the general public, which is very much urban fantasy.
Right.
So, under urban fantasy, these are the top picks that have, you know, number 1 through 8, and into paranormal, under fantasy. So,
right.
Yeah.
The reason we pulled this one up is that this lets you see on Amazon itself. We looked up paranormal and urban, but you get to see fantasy, and you get to see the bigger subcategories that are underneath fantasy. Mm-hmm. Now, under many of these, there are additional subcategories, right? But if you didn't have the tool that we're going to walk you through,
you'd have to go through this.
You'd have to do it this way. You'd have to, like, kind of figure it out, kind of, like, imagine what it would be, or go into one of these and drill down, and then you're still kind of guessing, right? So we feel like it's way better to use the tool.
Use Publisher Rocket, and we're going to show you how to do just that.
Exactly.
So this is the dashboard. This is everything you can do with Publisher Rocket right here. Keyword search, competition analyzer, categories, Amazon ads, essentially, and then the tutorials for how to do those 4 things.
Right.
And so we're going to go into the category search.
Right.
And figure out where to put our book.
But part of the thing we want to talk about for sure is that if you want to stand out on Amazon, you have to have great keywords, things that people are actually searching when they go to Amazon and they're looking for the next book, the next ebook, or whatever. And you also need to be in the right category, and now they're only allowing you to have 3 categories, and they're actually deciding if your book fits the categories that you said it does, because if they don't agree with it, they're actually keeping your book in draft mode rather than letting it be live in the Amazon bookstore. So that's a brand new change that only happened recently. So categories matter even more than they once did. So when we click on categories, it is letting us choose all for books, Kindle, and Audible, right? But you really want to do them separately. You know, if you're uploading a book to Amazon, you really want to choose books and do things inside there. You want to choose Kindle and look for things inside there because they're very different in the different marketplaces, you know? So this is what before we recorded the video, we actually looked at Kindle. The competition is so fierce in the Kindle bookstore. We just said, okay, we're going with printed books, right? We're just looking at printed books. And that is not usually what we would say to do.
Nope.
But for this novel that involves vampires, we decided that was the best thing.
Yep.
So we're looking at...
Competition's really high in Kindle.
So one of the things you can do, there's a couple of ways to do this. One of the ways is just go down this major category list and look for urban fantasy. What was that under? Fantasy or...
yes, it was under fantasy, I believe.
Sci-fi
fantasy.
Sci-fi and fantasy are together.
Yeah.
So
there's sci-fi fantasy.
So here's science fiction and fantasy.
So check it out.
We're going to check this out. And on here,
it's going to have...
there's urban fantasy.
Paranormal and urban.
Paranormal and urban.
With that, in order to get to the number 1 slot of paranormal and urban, you have to sell 568 copies within the hour, I think.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And something that I find really fascinating about some of these categories as we've looked at different ones in certain genres, they're dominated by main publishers, right? Large publishing houses. Like humorous is 72% large publishers, 86% for epic science fiction or for epic fantasy. Like that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
BattleTech.
Yeah. Gaming BattleTech is 15%.
Gaming is like 15%. It's mostly independent.
But you also only have to make 10 sales within an hour to get to the top of that category.
Right. So if you write anything about gaming stuff, like we saw it showing up several times, and the numbers are kind of like this in a lot of those. So anyway, always looking out for new books that can be written.
Right.
All right. So that is one way to do it, where you're kind of guessing on your own, right? Another way to do it is to look at the search here and to just type in what we were going to type in. Vampires, maybe?
Sure, yeah. Let's start with vampire.
So if we start with vampires, and you can do vampire or you can do vampires. That's in science fiction and fantasy. Okay, we have to go back to
main page.
Main page. Yeah. We don't want to be
inside a subcategory.
We don't want to be in a subcategory. We want to be here in the main page to see all the categories that it might be listed under. So when you see this, okay, it's in literature and fiction, it's in mystery and suspense, it's in romance, teen science fiction. So, you can go in a lot of different ways depending on the story that you've written if you're in a fiction genre. Yeah. So this is very interesting. Horror vampire stories are really dominated by big publishing houses. I find that very fascinating.
But the mystery supernatural vampires are not.
No.
And it's also only 69 sales.
This is not unreasonable to do with a big launch if you're trying to launch a book. But again, if you're trying to make more sales, if your book is already launched, you're looking to find categories that fit. And really what matters even more than this is probably the keywords that you choose.
Yeah.
So you have to pick categories in order to upload a book. Okay. And if you're trying to launch a book to bestseller status or hit #1, then how much competition you have really matters in these categories. And that's why we look for these low numbers for sales to #1. But if you're trying to improve the sales of a book that's already out there, you can change what category it's in, but you really want to pay attention to the keywords being searched.
And let's take a look at the mystery, thriller, suspense category and see, because we've done a dry run of this before we did this,
right?
And there was a good spot in there somewhere.
So we want to just do, was it mystery that we wrote? I think it was mystery.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah. So we just went. Oh no, this is a subcategory. No, it's not. Yeah. Mystery. Okay. So this is showing us under books every place in every genre and every category and subcategory. It's showing us every place mystery shows up, and there's a lot, right? Children's books, literature and fiction, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender books, mystery thrillers. Like there's just all these different main categories that have...
And with vampires, same thing. All right, that's what we were doing already. Never mind.
Oh, yes. It's showing us the same one we found the other way, right?
This is just another way to get to the same place.
Right. But there's all these others. So, like, domestic, I mean, does that mean U.S. or does that mean in a household?
I think that's more household stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? Spies and politics, like, it depends on the nature of your story. Where maybe there's a heist, maybe there's well, he kind of stole an artifact, right? I mean, heist might be in there. It depends on the nature.
The book has a heist in it, yes.
Yeah. Women sleuths, right? Women sleuths, because this guy, it was a girl. Yep. You said it was a university professor that was female, right?
Yeah.
Supernatural. Like, there's a lot of places that these things can go.
And you want to find stuff that's doing well. Like a lot of this stuff, it's not entirely unreasonable to get to the top. Like just to be mystery, thriller, suspense, that's over 2,000 sales within an hour. That's pretty unlikely unless you have a pretty established stuff. It's probably not your first book.
Right.
You have avid readers who want to get to your next thing. You might be able to pull that off eventually, but that's not something to shoot for early on.
Right.
But a couple hundred, it's doable at the very least.
Yeah, a couple hundred. If you've, that's why we tell you to like grow a mailing list and be on social media and grow a following there too. It's called your author platform, and we talk about that a lot in other videos. So those are important things, as well as doing a proper book launch and having promotions that are running all at the same time and all those things. So it's not just picking keywords and categories. There's a whole lot involved with the launch.
Yeah.
We talk about it in other places. Okay, so this is how you can find some of your categories. So you need to know your story, and you need to kind of figure out where they fit.
Yeah.
What's legit for them to fit, okay?
Exactly. If you like our channel content, then you're definitely going to like our complete self-publishing bundle, a product that takes you all the way from the inception of your book through the writing process up into publishing and launching. Normally, we would sell it for $497, but lucky you, if you go down into the description below and purchase Publisher Rocket with our link for $97, you also get our bundle. If you liked the video, leave a like. If you have any questions, leave a comment. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you want to be notified for future videos.